Nicholas David Palacios, Student Engineer, Cutter Boutwell, San Diego, California. His commission will be presented by his father, Chief Warrant Officer David Palacios, U.S. Coast Guard. Christopher Anthony Palmieri, Student Engineer, Cutter Dependable, Cape May, New Jersey. David Nathaniel Parker, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Hickory, Homer, Alaska. His commission will be presented by his brother, Lieutenant Daniel Parker, U.S. Coast Guard. Kevin Michael Peters, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Harriet Lane, Portsmouth, Virginia. His commission will be presented by his father, Rear Admiral Select Gordon Peters, United States Navy. Robert William Foff, Student Engineer, Cutter Morgenthau, Honolulu, Hawaii. Nicholas William Phillips, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Boutwell, San Diego, California. Victoria Lynn Phillips, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Charles Sexton, Key West, Florida. Her commission will be presented by her father, Major Edward Phillips, United States Air Force, retired. Bradley Lewis Pienta, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Elm, Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Scott Anthony Prats, graduating with honors. Student Engineer, Cutter Weishi, Alameda, California. John Carlos Ramirez, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Farallon, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Jordan Christian Rank, Student Engineer, Cutter Alert, Astoria, Oregon.
The one there with his mom.
John Jacob Rendon, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Harriet Lane, Portsmouth, Virginia. His commission will be presented by his father, Commander John Rendon, U.S. Coast Guard, retired. Alexandra Marie Rennie, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Escanaba, Boston, Massachusetts. Douglas Keenan Ricketts, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Healy, Seattle, Washington. His commission will be presented by his father, Major Jacob Barton, United States Army. Evan Schuyler Rothfeld, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Anacapa, St. Petersburg, Alaska. Samuel Buckman Ruby, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Spencer, Boston, Massachusetts. Anna Lisette Ruth, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Bernard C. Weber, Miami, Florida. Robert Michael Scaduto, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Boutwell, San Diego, California. Adam Peter Scalesi, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Orcas, Coos Bay, Oregon. His commission will be presented by his father, Lieutenant Commander Vincent Scalesi, U.S. Coast Guard, retired. Carter Thomas Schlank, graduating with honors. Flight training, Pensacola, Florida. His commission will be presented by his father, Lieutenant Colonel Ronald Schlank, United States Air Force, retired. Eric John Schmid, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Boutwell, San Diego, California. His commission will be presented by his brother, Lieutenant Junior Grade Ryan Schmid, U.S. Coast Guard. Jacob Cristiano Schroeder, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Rush, Honolulu, Hawaii. John Wesley Schultz, Student Engineer, Cutter Morgenthau, Honolulu, Hawaii. Kristen Elizabeth Schultz, graduating with high honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Maple, Sitka, Alaska.
It's one of our divert airports.
Gabriella Scrudato,
There you go.
Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Vigilant, Cape Canaveral, Florida. Hannah Marjorie Sealand, graduating with high honors, Student Engineer, Cutter Forward, Portsmouth, Virginia. Tony Joseph Selesnik, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Thetis, Key West, Florida. Angel Louise Serrano Jr., Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Healy, Seattle, Washington. Chelsea Marissa Sheehy, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Confidence, Cape Canaveral, Florida. Ben Shen, graduating with honors, Student Engineer, Cutter Sherman, San Diego, California. Jacob Leszek Sibilski, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Active, Port Angeles, Washington. Kendra Hughes Smith, graduating with high honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Steadfast, Astoria, Oregon. Lauren May Tatum Smith, graduating with honors, Student Engineer, Cutter Healy, Seattle, Washington. Molly Ryan Smith, graduating with honors, Flight Training, Pensacola, Florida. Rachel Ann Smith, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Resolute, St. Petersburg, Florida. Kevin Rexroad Sowers, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Thetis, Key West, Florida. His commission will be presented by his brother, Lieutenant Al Sowers, U.S. Coast Guard. Drew Matthew Stafford, graduating with honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Cushing, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Alexandra Victoria Stinner, graduating with honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Charles David Jr., Key West, Florida. Ainsley Cairn Stringfield, Student Engineer, Cutter Reliance, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Alexander Grant Sullivan, Student Engineer, Cutter Vigorous, Cape May, New Jersey. Boone Thomas Swanberg, graduating with honors, Student Engineer, Cutter Sherman, San Diego, California. His commission will be presented by his father, Captain Thomas Swanberg, U.S. Coast Guard. John Philip Tabb, graduating with high honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Sequoia, Santa Rita, Guam. Jake Edward Taylor, graduating with high honors, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Fur, Astoria, Oregon. Lucas Edward Taylor, Flight Training, Pensacola, Florida. His commission will be presented by his mother, Major Laura Taylor, United States Air Force Reserve. Treston Thomas Taylor. Flight training, Pensacola, Florida. David Richard Thompson. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Laguerre, Portsmouth, Virginia. Trey Alexander Thunborg, Student Engineer, Cutter Mellon, Seattle, Washington. Marco Maxwell Tanari, Flight Training, Pensacola, Florida. Dylan Jeffrey Torno, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Mellon, Seattle, Washington. Charles Arthur Totten, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Reliance, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Brianna Emily Townsend, Student Engineer, Cutter Stratton, Alameda, California. Emily Marie Trudeau, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter William Flores, Miami, Florida. Joseph Raymond Trump, graduating with high honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Oak, Charleston, South Carolina. John Patrick Tubilato, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Alder, Duluth, Minnesota. His commission will be presented by his father, Lieutenant Commander Prudencio Tubilato, U.S. Coast Guard. Alyssa Jean Turner, graduating with high honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Tahoma, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Cyrus Pappas Unvala, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Polar Star, Seattle, Washington. Jonathan Francis Upton, graduating with honors, Student Engineer, Cutter Diligence, Wilmington, North Carolina. Daniel Anderson Valenti, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Hollyhock, Port Huron, Michigan. Kyle Everett Van Dillen, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Stratton, Alameda, California. Pantelis Nick Vasilarakis, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Mellon, Seattle, Washington. His commission will be presented by his brother, Lieutenant John Vasilarakis, U.S. Coast Guard. Michael Vincent Petrano, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Staten Island, Atlantic Beach, North Carolina. Audra Kathleen Ward, graduating with high honors. Flight training, Pensacola, Florida. Her commission will be presented by her sister, Ensign Alexa Ward, U.S. Coast Guard. Caitlin Marie Ward, graduating with honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Willow, Newport, Rhode Island. Devontae Debreen Weems, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Dependable, Cape May, New Jersey. Benjamin Charles Woolhopter, graduating with high honors. Flight training, Pensacola, Florida. David Raymond Walensky Jr., graduating with high honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Venturous, St. Petersburg, Florida. Joshua Wade Wombold, Student Engineer, Cutter Steadfast, Astoria, Oregon. Michaela Lynn Woodard, graduating with honors. Student engineer, Cutter Northland, Portsmouth, Virginia.
That's not one of the ribbons.
Womble's on her cutter.
Carol Denise Yin, graduating with high honors. Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Boutwell, San Diego, California. Lauren Elizabeth Young, Deck Watch Officer, Cutter Spencer, Boston, Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduates of 2014, please join me in a